For anyone currently navigating the complex Australian migration system, July 1, 2026 is a strict financial and procedural deadline. It's reset, visa fees scale up, and every state and territory's nomination quota drops to zero. The immediate impacts are purely mathematical. Submitting an application in July costs more than submitting it in June. The mandatory minimum salary an employer must pay jumps by nearly 4%. And if you are relying on a state invitation, the available spots evaporate overnight. You face a distinct choice right now. You can scramble to lock in current rates and secure remaining quotas before June 30, or you can strategically delay your lodgement and absorb the amplified costs of the new financial year. Each visa subclass carries a different set of risks. A student waiting on a graduation certificate faces a completely different financial and procedural timeline than an employer managing a large sponsored workforce. To evaluate your position, we have to look at the data through three distinct profiles: the employer trying to sponsor staff, the skilled independent migrant chasing an invitation, and the long-term planner plotting a multi-year path to permanent residency. Identifying which of these three profiles matches your situation is the only way to determine if you need to sprint aggressively this very week or hold your ground and carefully prepare for August. We start with businesses sponsoring overseas workers. The transition into the new financial year carries an immediate compounding financial penalty for delayed paperwork. This chart shows the core skills income threshold. The minimum base salary increases on July 1 to $79,499, a difference of nearly $3,000 per employee. Critically, this threshold is dictated by the exact date the nomination is lodged. A nomination lodged on June 29th, offering a $77,000 base salary, passes. Lodge that exact same paperwork 3 days later, and it automatically fails. This salary jump is compounded by the new payday superannuation mandate taking effect July 1. Employers must pay the 12% guarantee at each pay cycle. A minimum wage sponsored worker now costs over $89,000 annually, extracted from cash flow every single week. Employers must audit their sponsored workforce today. Anyone between $76,515 and the new $79,499 line requires immediate salary negotiation or rushed nomination paperwork before June 30. For businesses, avoiding the friction of HR coordination this week locks in a permanent thousands of dollars penalty for every employee on the payroll. Next, for independent skilled migrants, pursuing 189, 190, or 491 visas, the threat isn't a salary threshold. It's the expiration of state quotas. In April and May, states operate on a strict use-it-or-lose-it basis, rushing to issue remaining invitations before the financial year ends. This timeline outlines what happens if you wait for the July reset. State allocations drop to absolute zero.
The system enters a frozen quiet period while governments design their new program settings, leaving everything flatlined through July and most of August. During this pause, processing entirely stops. When states finally reopen in late August, you aren't stepping into a fresh start. You are thrown into a newly formed backlog, competing against thousands of highly competitive applications accumulated during the freeze. The alternative is finalizing your English tests, claiming extra points, and updating your existing work experience today to capture the final invitation rounds before closing. Delaying your submission locks you out for a quarter of the year, forcing you to compete against an applicant pool that has doubled in size. Finally, we turn to the long-term planners, families, international graduates, and legacy 482 visa holders, structuring multi-year pathways to permanent residency. By July 1, the Skills in Demand framework operates as the permanent, fixed baseline for the new migration year. This permanence offers concrete long-term benefits. Core skills holders gain a guaranteed pathway to the 186 permanent residency visa after 2 years of employment, and time worked with any approved sponsor counts toward that total. It also provides structural security. If your sponsorship ends, you have a 180-day grace period to find a new sponsor with full work rights. Deferring your lodgement carries a guaranteed financial penalty. This matrix shows current application charges against July 1 increases, driven by CPI indexation. For families, these percentage increases multiply aggressively across secondary applicants, adding hundreds of dollars to your final invoice. And CPI is only the floor. The government recently doubled the graduate visa fee overnight from $2,300 to $4,600, proving policy-driven hikes can far exceed inflation. The new framework offers genuine stability, but accepting the July 1 fee indexation as an inevitable delay tax costs you money you could easily save today. The Australian government does not reward your intent to apply, they reward your date of effect. This decision tree maps your next steps based on a single binary choice. Are your skills assessment and English test results valid? If yes, you are in the sprint group. You have ready relationship evidence, a willing employer, or a competitive 80 platypod threshold. Execute your lodgements immediately. Use the days you have left to secure remaining state quotas, lock in current salary thresholds, and shield yourself from the July baseline cost inflation. If the answer is no, you are in the prepare group. You are waiting on test scores, lacking a finalized skills assessment, or sitting well below the point threshold. Do not rush half-prepared applications just to save on fees. You must accept the July increases and use this time to pivot to strategy. Use the July system pause to your advantage. Push your English scores to the superior band, get your supporting documents certified, and research state-specific priorities, like Queensland's focus on infrastructure and engineering professionals. Secure your 2026 visa by matching your specific documentation status to the hard July 1st deadline.